Hi, my name's Barry Woodward and I'm the author of a book called Once an Addict. I was brought up in Salford in Greater Manchester, went to school, didn't work hard at school. I left school with no qualifications and I met three people then who were taking what we call recreational drugs. They were smoking weed, taking amphetamine and using LSD. I started to hang around with them and take the same drugs they were taking. Eventually, we were all taking heroin. That led to me being an addict for 15 years, in and out of prison. And then 24 years ago, I was invited to church. And I thought, these guys are all basket cases. They were banging tambourines and waving flags around. I'm thinking, I came in here to get away from people who are on drugs, and it looks like this lot are off it on drugs. I felt really out of place, but that day I had what people would call a religious experience. I had a light bulb moment, and that became the day when my life turned around. Soon after that, I went off to college. I studied, and while I was at college, I set up a charity called Proclaim Trust. And since then, I've been working under the banner of Proclaim Trust in prisons, local churches, in schools, communicating the greatest story that's ever been told. And today, we're going to talk about ethics of the body. Over the years, I've learned that there are three main issues surrounding the body. The first is the issue with the mind. I came out of prison once and I was so excited to be out of prison. I started a drugs marathon, taking lots of amphetamine, and I wouldn't let myself sleep. I started to hear voices. They were coming from everywhere. I stopped taking the amphetamine, but the voices continued. Eventually I went to see a doctor, and the diagnosis was amphetamine psychosis. He sent me to Chirwell Psychiatric Hospital. I'll never forget that day. We're going down Princess Parkway in the back of a private hire taxi. My girlfriend was sat with me, and it was raining, and there was water splashing at the side of the wheel arches, and in the sound of that water, I could hear voices. I'm thinking, they're following me to Cheadle. That's the damage that drugs can do to your mind. I thought I was invincible. I thought I was Iron Man when it comes to taking drugs. But now I'm in a position where I'm hearing voices 24/7. For 9 years, I heard voices. That's what drugs do to you. Another issue that I've learned surrounding the ethics of the body is that sometimes when we're younger, we make choices and we don't realise how those choices are going to affect us when we get older. I've got a friend, she drank when she was young, she smoked when she was young, she started taking drugs when she was young, she was a party animal, and she ended up being HIV positive. And that's something that she has to live with. She didn't know in the earlier days when she was smoking and partying and doing things that a lot of young people do, she didn't know that she was going to end up getting a disease that she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life. And another issue that I've found, and the ultimate one, is death. See, sometimes we do stuff, we smoke, we take drugs, and do all these different things, and we don't realise at some point that they could end up taking our life. I've got a friend who I used to hang around with when we were kids. We smoked weed together, we went in pubs together, we had fights together, and we started taking heroin together. Well, he ended up dying. So he got hepatitis, he ended up with cancer of the liver, all through the lifestyle that I was living at the beginning. So he was smoking, he was drinking, he was taking drugs. He died a few years ago. He was only 52. So you've got to think about these things, because there are consequences to the choices that we make. I can talk about these things because years ago, I was making lots of wrong choices. And I didn't realise that later in life, I was going to live in the consequence of those choices. But I want to say to you, think about the choices that you're making. Maybe you're smoking, maybe you're drinking and getting drunk. Is that God's best for you? Is that what God wants for you? Listen, live your life according to the way that God wants you to live it. Read the Bible, read his instruction book, basic instructions before leaving earth, and that will give you some guidance. Remember, God values you more than you can ever imagine. And remember, he's got a plan for your life.